like we're doing these courses of introductory and we're sharing a lot of knowledge, because once people get this knowledge, they don't realize it's going to open so many doors. And that course was 3 hours long. And I'm like, some of this stuff you need to spend a week on. It's just like sit with a person for a week and work and teach and guide and share.
Yeah, it was funny watching him.
He was blowing through things in 3 hours, like literally, and sharing information, pictures of this, this and that. This can break energy. This can do this. Oh, here, I'm going to smudge you. Oh, all these different things. And they're curious about my medicine bag, and I'm pulling all kinds of things out, and I'm sharing, and I'm doing stuff and holding energy, and people are dropping in and having these big freaking experiences, and they don't know. And they're like, holy, and and they're just excited, and one person is laughing, the other person is dropping in and crying, this other person is trying to jump out of their body and take off into the universe. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a circus show, and I got to try to keep it grounded, and I got to make sure they're safe, so when this is over they go home and everything turns out good, because some of them really open big. And I'm trying to help them to understand this energy, right? And they haven't been in it. So we got a couple more of these courses, and some more people are coming, and then doing that for them, then going into the next one, like really, really trying to understand energy dynamics, because becoming conscious of it, because everything comes and goes in your life for different reasons throughout the day, and how, like I say, you'll learn to navigate. And you find that middle plane where you sort of go up, you come down, you go up, and you sort of stay in that in between, and you don't let it to go really, really high, because it's really nice to be in that euphoria and that, oh my God, this feels so good. I just want to spend the rest of my life here. But it's somewhere the universe is like, sorry. And all of a sudden it goes, and you hit the bottom, and you're just like, I don't want to live anymore. I don't want to get up tomorrow. Hell with the world. Don't look at me. You go into all this crap. Eventually you stop pity partying. You're like, okay, get your shit together and climb that ladder again. Get back to your center, and you're like, okay, I'm fine now. Let's do this. So it's really, really interesting. And even with this, sometimes I wonder how much I really, really help you all. Like in me, I go into deep contemplation and questions. Like even with Mercedes, there's so many big things going on, and energies and expansions and different kinds of things. And like Cindy gets to debate and talk with me. This has gone on for 11 years. And I could remember when I was this lone warrior on my own, and I was into 50 different things, man. Nothing was stopping me. I bit into this brick, whatever this spiritual thing was, and I'm going to gnaw this till I get through it. And I took on astrology, I took on I Ching, I took on many, many forms of stuff that I didn't fully understand, but I'm going to learn it. And like I said, this channelings and these things opening up, and I'm walking around, my head just full with stuff, and I'm looking around, and it's like, anybody know this? Is there anybody out there that would understand if I was to open up and share with you? And now I sit in it. Now I can look at these things and really, really understand and go deeper. But how do I share this? Because I was telling Cindy, I love it, because in 3 years, I've seen how big Ian has gone. I see Banya, I see Mercedes, even Zarina, I see where she goes this big and then she sort of comes down. I see that with Cindy. I see Helen, she's one of them that's this new energy is coming in. It's like, oh my God. And there's more bigger energies for Ian and all the others. So these big, massive energies that are coming in. And God is like, do you really want this? Right? So this is not a game. And I try to make people understand this. This is a life. This is an energy. It's like something you drink that's going to stay inside you. And it's going to impact everybody around you. And it's like, how do I use my mind? How do I do this? How do I hold this? How do I have this love for this person and somehow hold an energy or something that they're going to get through? And when they get in it and they're there, they're going to do many wonderful, amazing things. I think it was a couple of weeks ago where I'm like, people want to become spiritual people because they want to be sniff dog or 5 cents or, you know, all of a sudden I'm Jaja Gubu or whatever, you know, and it's like, that energy, when it comes in, it's something you agree to be responsible and carry and assist the world and bring change. Like, people want to ask things, people are seeing things and all kinds of stuff, and it's like, how do you do with this? Like, all the knowledge I was getting is like, how do I teach this? Because there's so many things I want to bring into the world, but it's like, how do I teach it? Because I don't like scaring people. I remember when I walked through all my fears, I thought there was nobody there.
Do you think you're scaring people when you tell them something about about their futures, or when you tell them what they're capable of doing, when you teach them something spiritual?
When I talk about the visions and the things that are going to happen on this planet that are coming, because some people don't want to accept the brutality of this world and some of the violence and things that go on. They never want to look at it. They wear rose-colored glasses.
This can still change, right?
Yeah, but we're going to go through stuff that is just going to, there's nothing we can do but go through it.
There are ways you can go through it in higher expression than the third dimensional, like death expression, perhaps. In the books, The Masters of the Far East, there is a teaching of the spiritual beings that there's a village that's being invaded by a neighboring tribe, and the spirit beings put up an energy in front of them that as soon as those invaders hit the energy, then they turn on themselves and they end up destroying themselves instead of the villagers. But that's just an energy. It's a different expression of energy. So if you're in the fear energy, yeah, you could have like the fearful expression of it. But if you're in that light, that commanding energy, I think it's in the magic presence, or in the unveiled mysteries. Godfrey Ray King talks about the same thing. The masters teach him as well. When you command an energy from that higher vibration, it will do what you're commanding it to do. So there's things you can learn that can help you to navigate those difficult situations, but it's not going to change the world itself, right?
Yeah, and people always ask me, where's a safe place, where's this and that, and I'm like, for everybody it's different. I don't know what your journey is. I'll see what I can bring through for you. I'll bring through whatever is there that maybe needs to be shared, and I'll share that. But like I say, everybody's dynamics is different. You don't know what's going to pull you in a certain area, or what's going to go on that's going to steer you in a different way or whatever. And some people want to know these prophecies, and I'm like, for what reason? Like, what are you going to do with it? Because like I say, some things you see, you're just like, okay. Because I know when the universe shows me these things in visions, they say, this is what you will see. And I'm like, okay. So one day I'll get to that place, and for whatever reasons, however, I'm going to see something, and it's like, all right, that's something. Now I move through and I go into the next thing, because I saw into the future and I saw stuff further on. So just because you see a terrible thing here doesn't mean the end of anything. It's just maybe you're not even in that area when it happens, but maybe it's the news, and you watch the news and you see that. So in the vision, you may see something, but that doesn't mean you're right in it. So it took me a long time to learn how to decipher and look at and understand things, because it literally would tell me this is what I would see in the future. And this has gone on since I was a little boy. It's not something that I wanted to make up or tell people about or think about. I've seen many, many things. And I used to sit with my granddad as a little boy. And I remember when I was scared and I'd tell him things. And he like, oh, don't be afraid of it. He says, one day when you get there in the future, you will see, you will understand and know it all. And so he would just get me to talk it out. And eventually it's just like, okay, it's just like I always tell people, you watch Freddy Krueger enough, after so many times you watch it, eventually you're going to laugh at it. It won't be scary anymore. So eventually, like I say, these things, and when I have these things, I just accept them. And people want to change it. People just want us in something. But in the natives, we just believe in the purifying times. Like to purify something, you got to heat it, burn it, send it through something, transform and change it. And there's a process of it. And these prophecies have been here for over 2,000 years. There's an energy there that needs to literally burn, transform, and then rebirth as a new energy. So something has to consume and remove that. So there has to be a kind of a process, because the Earth Mother needs to do things too, to cleanse and change and release and rebirth and bring this new Eden in the future, this wonderful world in the future that's going to be. And it's, like I say, all these processes. In the native times, we just talk about the purifying times. We talk about the visions and the things we're seeing and sharing, and we just know this is a process. We don't try to fight with it or saying, oh yeah, Jesus is going to save the world, or some alien race is going to come from the universe and just save us. We don't believe in that. We believe we have to go through this change, and it's going to make us all better people. We're going to realize never to do this again. And we're going to come together as one big family on this planet. If you know prophecies and that, things will happen that's going to verify that we are in that area and things are going on. And you'll just see one thing after then another. If you're asking to see, it's going to get shown to you. As I always ask, and then I get shown things. I'm like, oh, that's something you showed me 15 or 20 years ago. Here I'm looking at it now. And it's not something I intentionally do. It's just like I ask to see, because somewhere in all of this, I know I'm meant to assist or do something. So I need to see, and it's something I've learned to do. I don't avoid it, because I can't help anybody if I'm sitting with a blanket over my head, just going, yep, Jesus is going to blink. I'm going to be in heaven. Glory, hallelujah. I'm going to be saved. It's not doing nothing for this bloody world. Being in denial.
I read in the Ramtha book this morning about restructuring. It's like how you're seeing your world. So let's say this third dimensional world, how you're viewing it. It's like you're creating it from the viewpoint of your consciousness level, and you can restructure the viewpoint. Because we're all gods, in how he was saying that we're the forgotten gods. We've forgotten that we have this ability to do this, and using your consciousness or working with your consciousness to restructure and reframe what it is you're seeing to come from a higher perspective instead of the victim, or the lower, poor me, hide under the blanket perspective.
Yeah, and we're all waking up. I mean, you guys wouldn't be doing this every week if your soul doesn't want to wake up and really become that divine being that's going to stand there and understand how to help the planet and walk through all of this. Because all you can do is walk through everything, and you'll come out the other end, and then you can all come together and celebrate. And that time will come when we all gather together and we'll all go, wow, we made it. And then we're going to help this world to become something super, super amazing.
And I was thinking the same thought this morning, where it's just like, okay, why are we meeting every Wednesday? Like, why do you keep coming? Because there's something inside of you that is learning something, and we're all on different pages within our journeys, but somehow it could be with what Joe's sharing, or I'm sharing, or someone else in the group that shares, that it's going to give you that answer of what you're seeking in your life. It feels like we've come together because we're each providing it for us. Our answers are what we're seeking.